unidirectional flow of energy will be taking place. As well as in this case, what are the particular ingredients which are flowing, remember? So this will be nothing else but the water as well as the minerals. As well as when we are talking about these cases, it's what are actually the minerals as well as the water. So you are very clear about that. Oftenly, these are particularly being radiated towards what is and originated, or either the journey of these ingredients particularly originated from water is as well as ending towards water is, remember? So this will be particularly originating with reference to the root region and particularly ending towards what? Towards the aerial surface of the plant region. And you are very clear about that, means what are actually the aerial part of the plants. Often when we are talking about these cases, in order in term of what? In order in term of the locality, or either the presence of what? Or either in term of the presence of the xylem. So its presence will be in term of what? In term of the side portion with reference to what? With reference to the vascular bundle. And you are very clear about that, means what actually the vascular bundle. After that, in the second case, we are having what? Tell me. So in the second case, we are having the phloem. So you are very clear about that also. In this case of the phloem, what will be happening? So in this case, the bidirectional flow of the energy will be taking place. Often, there will be particularly transportation of what? Of these cases, such as what? Such as the food ingredients, as well as the different types of the components will be taking place. As well as these will be originated, as well as finally ending towards water is, remember? So, they are particularly nothing else, or either the fixation mechanism with reference to the origination mechanism, as well as the exiting mechanism. Why is it so? Remember? So in this case, what is happening? So in this case, the bidirectional flow of energy, or either the ingredients with reference to what? With reference to the energy supplement mechanism are taking place. Thus, it could originate from one region as well as in towards the final region, or either the vice versa process as well as the mechanism could be employed. Remember, after that, when we are talking about these cases, means particularly its journey will be particularly originated. So, in the case of the phloem, the transportation mechanism will be particularly originated with reference to what reason? With reference to the here main term of the leaves, as well as ending towards what reason? Ending towards the different, or rather the rest portion of the body of what? Of the plants. Oftenly, when we are talking about these cases, remember, means what are actually the here main term of the leaves. So you are very clear about that. So this will be playing important role, as well as there will be the presence of what? Of the chloroplast, as well as what? As well as the green pigments. Often these are the part of the plant, as well as bearing the stomata. Remember what are actually the stomata? We'll be understanding about that later. So you are very clear about these, means what are actually the xylem parenchyma, often the phloem parenchyma. This presents, or rather the ingredients region will be present where? So it will be present in term of the here main term of the vascular cambium, as well as in term of the cord cambium. But when we are talking about these cases, in the presence of the xylem as well as the phloem, so it will be present where? So it will be present in nothing else portion, but in term of what? Mean in term of the lateral cambium height. As well as when we are talking about these cases, so these are coming under from what case? So these are particularly coming under from the secondary meristem. Oftenly, these are coming under from what? Thus, when we are talking about the case of the xylem as well as the phloem, so this will be coming under from what case? So this will be coming under from the lateral cambium cases, and these are coming under from what case? So these are literally coming under from the here in term of the lateral what? Lateral cambium cases. As well as when we are talking about these lateral cambium are coming under from what case? So it will be coming under from nothing else but the secondary growth cases. As well as when we are talking about the secondary growth, so you are very clear about that. So in this case, what will be happening? So in this case, the lateral life process will be employed. And finally, we are coming under towards what region? And finally, we are coming under from the here main term of the mesenteric disc. And your mesenteric tissue are often being divided in term of what? In term of the three broad categories. So these are actually what? So these are the epidermis. Then what? Then the appendicular, appendage. Then in the third region, you will be having what? So in the third region, we will be having the stomata. Remember, as well as understood. So when we are talking about the epidermis, so these are nothing else but what? But the particular outermost layer with reference to the cell region, or either the protective layer. So these are often being composed with reference to what? With reference to the single layer of cells. Oftenly, when we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the xylem appendage, as well as when we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the appendicular appendage. Remember. So in this case, what will be happening? So in this case, we will be having the hair-like projection. Oftenly, when this particularly hair-like projection will be present in term of what? In term of the shoot region. So it will be known as what? So it will be known as the trichosomes. As well as when we are talking about these cases, in term of what? In term of the presence of this mineral in term of the here main term of the hair-like projection. In term of what? In term of the root region. So it will be known as what? So it will be known as the hair. Mean nothing else but the root hair. As well as what are actually the roles with reference to these? Remember, in term of the root here, playing important role for what? Playing important role to absorb the minerals as well as the nutrients. As well as what? As well as these mineral in terms of the water. So you are very clear about that, which what are actually the minerals as well as the nutrients. Now, so let's proceed with reference to the second case. So we have dealt about what things? So we have dealt about the epidermis, then what? Then the epidermal appendage. Then in the third you are having the stomata. Remember the particular role. So stomata are the pores-like structure, or either the pores-like structure present, of course, in terms of the leaf region. Oftenly these are composed as well as bearing what? So these are bearing the particular guard cell-like structure, or either the bean-shaped structure. So this particularly bean-shaped structure open in terms of what? In terms of the deficiency region, or either mean in terms of what? Mean in terms when the particular plants will be having the deficiency of the energy ingredients, and literally these particularly energy ingredients are being translated with reference to what? Or either the opening point through what will be happening to the particular energy accommodation will be taking place, or either the entrance of the energy molecules in order in terms of what? In order in terms of the photon energy, or either what? Or either the respiratory gases will be employed. So it will be promoted with reference to what reason? So it will be promoted with reference to nothing else reason, but these cases mean in terms of what? Mean in terms of the stomata. Oftenly when we are talking about these cases, means what regulate the particular portion with reference to the opening as well as the closing of stomata. Or you could say what? Or either you could say that the particular process, or either the overall mechanism of the opening as well as the closing of the stomata are literally being composed as well as being controlled by what factors? So these are nothing else but the natural factors, such as what? Such as these, mean in order in terms of the accommodation of light, then the accommodation with reference to the humidity, then accommodation with reference to the respiratory gases, as well as in terms of the gaseous exchange process, as well as the another cases such as the adverse condition will be taking place, such as what? Such as the disaster. Yes. Here main term of what? Main term of the rain, or either the particular here main term of the humidity, or either the excess fluid, or either what? Or either excess presence of the heat condition. So in this case what will be happening? So your stomata pores will be particularly closing in order for what? In order for the best existence. Remember, so nature particularly having the unique combination in order to support the fetus as well as eliminate the inferior one. Thus in this case nature often gifted the particular plant with reference to what race? With reference to the stomata region, and you are very clear about that. Means what are actually the process of the stomata. So now let's back with reference to these, means what are actually the dicot. So now let's understand about these cases in order in terms of what? In order in terms of the components, or either what? Or either the different types of the parts which are literally being present with reference to what? With reference in order in terms of the monocotyledonous root, or either in terms of what? Or either in terms of the monocotyledonous root, or either these are oftenly popularly known as what? So these are known as the monocot root. Now, so when we are talking about these cases, so in this case what will be happening? So your monocot root particularly resists from undergoing what? From undergoing the secondary growth. So you are very clear about that. Means what are actually the secondary growth, remember? So in this case the things such as what? Such as these in order in terms of what? In order in terms of the growth with reference to the root region will not be employed. Such as what? Such as the secondary growth in terms of what? In terms of the root region. As well as when we are talking about these cases. So remember we are having the lateral life. So this is somewhat the condition with reference to these cases. Mean in order in terms of what? Mean in order in terms of the secondary growth. So these are oftenly popularly known as what? So these are known as the lateral life. As well as what? So remember we have just understood about the features as well as what are actually the condition with reference to what? With reference to the secondary growth. In order in terms of the growth with reference to the, tell me, the cambium region, such as we are having these things, such as what? Such as the vascular cambium. Then what? Then we are often having the lateral cambium. As well as when we are talking about these cases, mean in order in terms of what? Mean in order in terms of the vascular cambium. Now let's understand about these cases, mean in order in terms of what? Mean in order in terms of the components of the particular components of what? Of the monocotyledonous root. As well as when we are talking about these cases, so these are oftenly popularly known as what? So these are known as the monocot root, remember? As well as when we are talking about these cases, mean in order in terms of what? Mean in order in terms of the monocotyledonous root, remember? So in this case, these particularly resist from what? So these particularly resist from undergoing the secondary growth. As well as when we are talking about these cases, mean what are actually the secondary growth, remember? So the particular growth which will be particularly taking place with reference to what? With reference to the lateral life. Mean in terms of what? Mean in terms of the presence or rather in the risk of what? When the growth are literally not being promoted or being employed with reference to the bark region, as well as what? As well as the xylem, as well as the phloem region. So remember, so we are actually having these things such as the cambium cases. Often when we are talking about the cambium particularly being divided in terms of the chord cambium. Then what? Then the lateral cambium. As well as when we are talking about these cases means what are actually the chord cambium.